Hello everyone, Brandon here with Enduro E-bikes Canada. Today we're having a look at our 5-turn 12,000 watt Enduro E-bike. This bike has over 221 foot-pounds of torque and I'm super excited to show you guys what it looks like. Let's hop into the unboxing. First things first, it's time to make some incisions with our trusty box cutter. Taking care to slice into the outer packaging, not our fingers, or even worse, our brand new bike. Opening up the side of the box, you can see how well this baby's been packaged for shipping. But beyond the packaging is what we're really here to see. And there she is, looking beautiful in all black. It's time to get our hands on with this 12,000 watt bombshell. After creating some space, we can lay out all the bike's components and begin to see what we're working with. Inside the box lies the rear light, a handy toolkit with everything you'll need for assembly, the pedals, your headlight, an instruction booklet for the display, thumb screws, the all-important charger for your bike, and other vital accessories. So don't lose them. Freeing up the front fender, take note of the screws attached to its underbelly. Also, take a second to appreciate the awesome wheels that come with this bike. Don't forget the comfortable padded seat too. You'll be grateful for it on the road. With all our parts laid out, we're almost ready to start putting things together. But first, we need to free up the front of the bike, which includes the triple crown front fork and handlebar, to which the bike's key and key fob is attached, as well as the bike's cycle analyst display and horn. While we're here, let's loosen up the screws holding in the crossbar at the bottom of the front fork with an Allen key and remove the crossbar with the help of a rubber mallet. We can also remove this tag from the front brake caliper. If you have a friend nearby, one of you can now lift the frame of the bike, allowing the other person to hold the tire in place while feeding the crossbar back through the front fork and tire. Again, you may need some encouragement from Mr. Mallet, but hey, presto, our bike now has 2 wheels. That's progress. Of course, you'll need to put those screws back in place to stop that front wheel from rolling away without you. Using a power drill makes the process easier, but be sure to tighten the screws by hand with an Allen key afterwards, so you can really feel the tightness. Now it's time to take a seat, by which we mean the bike seat, which slides into the frame and is locked into position using this lever. Double check that the seat is facing the right way, and then onto the pedals. These simply screw into place. I say simply, but it's important to remember that the pedals are side specific. This means that the right side pedal has a right hand thread, removes counterclockwise, and installs clockwise, whereas the left side pedal has a left hand thread, removes clockwise, and installs counterclockwise. So if one pedal isn't screwing in without a fight, try swapping it out for the other, using a wrench to achieve final tightness. The bike's rear light comes next, so grab a Phillips screwdriver and a 10mm wrench because we're going to need them. You could take the light bracket off the bike by hand, and then attach it to the light fitting off bike, like so. Remember to use washers here. It can be a bit fiddly to get the screws and nuts in place, but once in, you can use a screwdriver to tighten the screws after. Now the light goes back onto the frame of the bike, using the lever and screw to hold it firmly in position. A light without electricity is useless though, so make sure we connect the cable here and tuck the cord neatly up inside the bike frame. Moving to the front of the bike, a floppy, disconnected handlebar just won't do, so we better fix that. Using an Allen key, remove this top bracket, paying careful attention to the spacers attached to it because we'll need them later. The handlebar goes in and the bracket with spacers goes back on over it, locking the handlebar in place. Again, this is a task easier with 2 people, one person holding the bar while the other tightens the screws. This is possible to do alone. Think of it like life, or marriage. After tightening the bracket screws with an Allen key, check the alignment of the handlebar. If all is well, then you can move on to the display. To install this clever companion, you'll need to take out the screw at the top of the headset. Remove the cap, position the display bracket over the hole you just created, and then fix it in place by reinserting the aforementioned cap and screw. The display may want to move around while you tighten the screw, but be sure to tell it who's boss and hold it steady so that it's nice and central when you finish. Once the top screw's done, we need to tighten the screws at the side of the headset. It's essential to lock the bearing preload in place after tightening the display screw. Now we're cooking. Let's make some noise with the installation of the horn next. It goes front and center, attaching to the bike by, you guessed it, a screw and washer, and an Allen key. To see where we're going in the dark, and not just where we've been, how about we install a light at the front of the bike too? The mount is already fixed to the bike, so it's just a case of more nuts and bolts needing to be tightened. Remembering the washers too. Make sure the light cable goes down through the center of the mount, so it can be grouped with the other cables in the Velcro pouch. When positioning the light, you want it pointed slightly downwards so that you can see the road ahead, not upwards, so that you blind everyone you meet. Mind you, you won't be blinding anyone else unless you connect the light to a power source. Thankfully, the cables at the front are all labeled, so it's easy to determine which wire goes where. To access the innards of your e-bike, simply unscrew these screws and remove the side panel. Now you can connect the two large gray power connectors, ensuring clarity as you do so. Main power connected. Next you can locate your GPS module, which looks like this. Be sure to take a picture of the GPS module's IMEI number on your phone, as you'll need it later. Now, pop open the case of the GPS module using a screwdriver. It's crucial that you make sure the device is switched off, and that the module is unplugged from the bike before inserting your SIM card. This will ensure that the GPS has a proper turn-on sequence. After inserting your SIM card, now you can go ahead and reconnect the GPS module to the bike. Now, flick the GPS switch into the on position and you'll be greeted with 3 solid lights. That means you've been successful and you can now reinstall the GPS module's cover. To link your GPS device, go into the TrackSolid Pro app, go to Add Device, type in the IMEI or scan the GPS barcode. It'll let you enter a device name, and once saved, the app will show you all of the bikes you have registered and their location on the map. After you've done this, go ahead and place some double-sided tape over the module's tamper sensor. This is so that if someone messes with your bike and attempts to discard the GPS to lose tracking, or if they tamper with your bike in some other way, you'll be sent a notification on your phone letting you know that someone's up to no good. For best results, be sure to mount the GPS module in a location where the top cover remains accessible or facing the sky. While the side panel is off, it's worth doing some cable management, feeding some of the cables at the front into the body of the bike, and tying them up so you don't have lots of loose cables swinging around while you ride. When everything's looking neat and tidy, you can replace the bike's side panel. That always feels good. You know what else feels good? Not having mud splash in your face. The front mudguard attaches to the front fork using these 3 screws that you hopefully put aside earlier. This mount for the front brake wire should be fitted facing backwards toward the rider so that it doesn't get hit by the tire. Speaking of which, those tires need to be inflated before we can go anywhere. Be sure not to exceed the max tire pressure, which for this tire is 32 psi, with a minimum of around 21 psi, because then you'll end up going nowhere and having to buy new ones. The recommended safe pressure is 28 psi, which can be adjusted to match rider's weight and type of terrain. Well, there you have it. That's how you unbox and set up a 12,000 watt Enduro e-bike. If you guys have any questions when you're setting up your own bikes, you can always reach out to your assigned WhatsApp support group for one-on-one tech support to help configure and set up your own bikes. That's it for me for now though. If you guys want to see more marketing videos of this bike in the future or any one of our other models, make sure to subscribe to the Enduro E-bike's YouTube channel. This is your host, Brandon, signing off.